Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, if you could all do me a solid and lightly tap the like button, perhaps share the video about and leave a comment. If you are not subscribed, subscribe as well. It would greatly help this channel. Thank you very much. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, Subdates 221006.4. This dispute between the Guntkin and Glassjawskis really needs to be settled like men, in a ring, no gloves, over a chessboard. Small problem though, I'm not entirely sure their intelligence is suited to that. Perhaps checkers would be a better fit. Hello everyone, welcome to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with a video that was shared via Salvo Pancakes on Twitter, who tweeted out Ethan Klein nervously disrespects Liver King. I actually saw this via Tipster, who retweeted, holy shit. What I find fascinating is a curiosity from Ethan Klein led him down a rabbit hole where a wall existed. That wall is Liver King. And, well, let's just play the clip because it's a banging way to start the video.
Now, do you have to have sex in a certain position because you're so big, and sometimes fat guys have a problem, they have to go into a certain position because I mean you're massive, right? So and also I don't know how well endowed you are, but like what's the situation with your what position do you have to go in a position, or are you guys fully flexible because you're both very muscular?
Here's the thing, never talk about my wife in this context.
What I found fascinating was I watched that podcast back just for the lols. Ethan Klein was trying to push his buttons the entire time. And every time Liver King presented a no, I'm not willing to go past this point moment, Ethan Klein just went, okay, well, I'm just going to go round it and try again. And then when that doesn't work, I'm going to go back to the start and try again and try again and try again and try again and try again. I can't tell if it's because Ethan Klein desperately wanted to make him look like a bit of a cuck, or if Ethan Klein for some odd reason was obsessed over the wrong details, believing it to be some form of entertainment when in fact it was one of the cringiest things ever that made him look like he was just jealous the guy's ripped and he's, well, a different kind of ripped.
Habits.
This is something that I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. You know, once we get into this level of detail,
we don't talk about that.
We don't.
Yeah, fair enough. Very respectful. What about selling feet pics online?
Ethan really needs to pick his battles, topics. I have a feeling he solely did this because he really wanted to rip on Liver King and see what he could get away with, or perhaps stoke enough controversy because it would drive up the views. And after watching the show in question, it's certainly the impression I got. And I get it, taking the piss out of someone for views, very entertaining. This was the Office level of entertaining though, and I mean the UK version that made my skin crawl. But you know what? That style of comedy was funny at one point, at the early turn of the century. So instead we're going to move on. So next I'm going to talk about Russia. They have been fighting a war with Ukraine for quite some time, and they've had some wins, some losses, a rather interesting referendum on annexing more territories in Ukraine to make them officially Russian. It's getting quite spicy, many people having very different positions. It's quite polarizing in fact, especially when money's involved in helping Ukraine, or whether America is the world's police, and so on. I don't really care about that. What's intrigued me is that Russia has started summoning, conscripting everyone from a certain age range up to retirement to fight this war in Ukraine. Anyone could be called up. A country as vast as Russia, they have resources to hand, and plenty of them, and they are renowned. If you look at their track record, their losses are ridiculous, but they're all collateral in the grand scheme of victory for the motherland, where once again the vodka, crap alcohol will find its way around the world when people finally accept us again, not that we care. One person called up intrigued me, and it intrigued me because this person was a boxer. They retired over a decade ago in fact. They are a two-time WBA World Heavyweight Champion. They were the tallest, still on record, and the heaviest fighter ever, standing at over 7 foot and weighing in excess of 23 stone, which is 322 pounds at the least. We are talking about Nikolai Valuev. This guy looked a bit like George the Animal Steel. No hair on his head, just all over his body. The man was a monster. He wasn't exactly a knockout artist, his size was where all his power came from. If you base him on many current fighters, most would have knocked him out, to be honest. Bear in mind here, David Haye beat him in 2009, which was in fact his final fight, before he then became a member of parliament in Vladimir Putin's United Russia Party 2 years later. He has been serving as a politician ever since. Which surprised me because when you hear Nikolai Valuev talk, he speaks slower than somebody who is in fact asleep. Almost like there's something wrong in his brain, which doesn't surprise me. It's well known the Titans struggled to speak properly, and then Zeus came along and cucked his father. At least that's what we found out from God of War. The part that really intrigues me is Nikolai Valuev, as I said, has been retired for over a decade. Valuev has admitted he has received a summons, and he intends to register for military service in the state of Duma, so he is going to be reporting himself to the enlistment office ASAP. Valuev in 2010 was treated for serious bone and joint problems. He has had multiple surgeries because of his height. He is essentially a very tall beacon that will act as cannon fodder. Bear in mind here, even 10 years ago when he fought David Haye, he wasn't the fastest. And now at the age of 49, I doubt he is going to be any faster. So I have to ask, how desperate are you for troops that you would acquire or have your own politicians go and fight for you in a fight where chances are he's going to be used as a human shield or a rather large decoy? Next, we're going to talk about P&O ferries briefly. I have discussed them multiple times within this series and on my second channel. Recently, a sous chef, former sous chef who had worked for them for 15 years, had actually gotten them to accept unfair dismissal and pay him a settlement as opposed to taking redundancy pay that he was offered along with the 800 people that were also dismissed. He was quoted as saying, "It wasn't just a job, this was a way of life. We spent half our lives on those ships. We lived on there for half a year and spent more time on there than we did with our friends and family. It became our home away from home, and we just had our jobs taken from us unfairly. The place that we called home for half a year was also taken away from us unfairly. They claimed it was done to save the company, but I think it's rubbish. The parent company just recently announced record half-year profits of £721 million. The part I have to poke at is, those profits aren't from P&O ferries. P&O ferries' profits are nowhere near this high. But there is a point here when a parent company posts all these record profits while also simultaneously getting rid of staff to replace with cheaper staff to save money, all under the guise of protecting the business. When they were all fired, an executive had said that the company was losing £100 million each year and had been over the past 2 years, which wasn't a surprise. It was during the time of coronavirus. Many companies lost a lot of money. Many companies were bailed out. Many companies were stopped from going under because of it. P&O Ferries, though, decided to save even more money because this made a blind bit of difference, firing 800 people in the grand scheme of the amount of money they were losing. I doubt it was the case, to obey maritime minimum wage as opposed to UK minimum wage, which saved them £4-ish an hour per person, which does not save them £100 million each year. It tells me they fundamentally do not know how to business and do not know how to math. I know when we're in school people say, oh, but when are you ever going to use these equations? Perhaps we should change those equations for basic economics. The reason I wanted to mention this was because of the settlement agreed, and I hope more people win these cases, and I hope it costs P&O Ferry a lot of money. I really do. To finish, we're going to talk about the Try Guys. The Try Guys have kind of gone through the ringer of late. I had no lie heard of them never prior to what had happened to them concerning Ned Fulmer. Isn't Ned Fulmer the owner? I don't know. Ned Fulmer was a part of the Try Guys, but got himself into a fair bit of hot bother because, affair. When it happens in the internet online space, people will dogpile you for it. Why? Because you built this squeaky clean image, being willing to try anything. Apparently, your newest gimmick was to try infidelity. Okay, that's adorable. The other 3 members of the Try Guys had said that they couldn't see a path forward and so weren't going to continue as a group. That's interesting. Very interesting. Ned Fulmer has kind of, gone away, He's, He had put out a statement saying that family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and had consensual workplace relationship. I'm sorry for any pain that my actions may have caused to the guys and the fans, but most of all to his wife. Adding, the only thing that matters right now is my marriage and my children, and that is where I'm going to focus my attention. With his wife saying, thank you to everyone who reached out to me, it means a lot. nothing is more important to me and Ned than our family, and we all request right now is that you respect our privacy for the sake of our kids. So divorce is off the table? Alright. I'm not here to judge what you two do with your relationship, but all of that was very cliche. Do forgive me, I don't care enough. I just found it fascinating that the Try Guys comprise of 3 remaining members, Keith, Zach, and Eugene. The group had originally launched careers while at BuzzFeed before leaving in 2018 to form their own production company, Second Try. The Try Guys as a brand has managed to land a show on Food Network, which then got premiered on Discovery Plus. They genuinely were branching out and succeeding. But as is the case, again cliche with success, well, somebody had to go goof, didn't they? It may as well be Ned Fulmer. Well, the Try Guys, after saying that they weren't going to continue as a group, have decided in a shared video statement. They addressed recent decisions to cut ties with Ned Fulmer, and in the video titled What Happened, they explained the timeline of his exit from the company and how the group will continue to alter the content they had already produced that Ned featured in, so that content is still being produced by the Try Guys, while also conceding some videos can't be edited, so they won't be released at all. Being quoted as saying, "We immediately removed Ned from our work activities and engaged an HR professional to conduct a thorough review of the facts. We also opted to remove Ned from our releases pending results of that review. That's including removing his section from videos, digitally removing him from others, and choosing not to feature him in our merch throws." Blah 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 blah. Again, I don't know how you've managed to stretch this out as long as you have, as a group, and while I want you to succeed going forward, rolling my eyes as I say that, I really couldn't care less. The fact this had to continue being addressed the way it has been addressed is quite embarrassing. And I tend to agree with Keemstar, who has said, imagine if this was a pro athlete or a rapper or something. No one would care, #cringe. At this point, yeah. No, I was going to finish by talking about a boxing event that was meant to be happening on Saturday, or is maybe happening, might be happening, because someone failed a drug test, and it's hilarious because the guy's jumping 2 weight classes, of course he failed a drug test with a female fertility drug. But I really can't be arsed. I've run out of time and I unfortunately have stuff to do today, I'm sorry folks. If you want to listen to other videos for topics that didn't make it into this video, go to Omegon2 Electric Boogaloo, but I'm also going to promote something because I'm really irritated. YouTube yeeted my Robert Nutbeam Halls of Injustice from this channel, but also the Judge Moist channel with everything's archived, crime stuff that is. So I've uploaded it to Rumble, link to that in the pinned comment. Ta-ta everyone.